So in this video, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of rideshare apps in New York City. Now, I say rideshare app because Uber and Lyft are not the only rideshare companies in New York City. There are other ones as well. However, these are the most common, so I'm just going to refer to them as Uber and Lyft in this video. Of course, the main pro of using one of these apps is going to be the on-demand aspect of it. You can order a car in minutes, if not seconds sometimes, because that's how quick they come. There are only certain times in New York City where it's very, very, very hard to get a car on one of these apps, and that's going to be parade days when there's like parades or major events going on in New York City. If there's rain, if it's raining in New York City, good luck trying to get a car for a reasonable price because that hardly ever happens. But for the most part, it's almost always easy to get a car unless you're in a really, really obscure part of New York City where it's going to be hard to get someone to come get you. But for the most part, very easy. The one thing that I've noticed since first coming to the city many years ago now, Uber and Lyft made it a lot easier to go out late at night in different neighborhoods. So sometimes like in New York City nightlife, there used to be a day where you would go to a certain neighborhood and not know how you're going to get back home because you either didn't want to take the subway, it wasn't near to where you were, or you didn't know if you were going to be able to catch a cab at that time. And Uber and Lyft and all those companies that have those ride-sharing services have solved that issue that no longer exists in New York City. And I know for a lot of you younger people who are watching this video, you would like never experienced that in New York City, but there was a time where that was something that you would think of. You would be like, okay, how am I going to be able to get a cab, or which subway am I going to take any to get home? And can I even go out there because it might be too difficult to get back? That was actually a thing that you had to think about. That whole problem now in New York City has pretty much been solved, and I don't think that people really ever think about that anymore. The only way that people might still think about that is if it's going to be extremely expensive to get home in an Uber and Lyft from where they are. Not if they can get the car, but is it so expensive where it just doesn't make sense to go? That actually is like a fair thing that people kind of still think about to this day, which also brings me to the next point of Uber and Lyft. So a con is the price. With so much demand in the marketplace for these on-demand car services, the price has just been so out of control. So there's this car sharing app called Via. I have not taken it in years. I'm pretty sure it still exists in Manhattan, but don't 100% quote me on that. If anyone knows, please share in the comments. Probably about like 6 years ago now, I used to take this app to basically get across New York City. And the whole point of this app at that time was that you can take a ride in New York City. It was a ride share app, so someone else could be in the car with you. Anywhere in the city in Manhattan for $5 a ride. $5 a ride. So if I wanted to go from the financial district to the Upper West Side, all I had to do was pay $5. And I might have some other stops because there could be other people getting in and out of the car, but $5. I'm recording this video now in 2023. That would never, ever, ever, never see that again. Like absolutely insane. I honestly don't even think the ride share still exists in today's time. Again, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any apps do that anymore. But I still can't even get over that like $5 was a price that any rideshare app like used ever. Also at that time, I would not have a lot of money. I remember like literally thinking like, should I get in the app for $5 or take the subway for $2, whatever it was costing at that time? And I was like, no, I should take the subway and save the money. Now I'm just like, it was $5. Like now you pay $50 and you can't even complain because you're like, well, that's the prices here. Times have changed, but the prices have gotten so out of control. I live all the way downtown Manhattan, and if I wanted to go, say, I'm on the west side, so if I wanted to go to the Upper East Side, complete opposite side of Manhattan, that would be well over $50. We could be getting closer towards like $70, $80 mark, and I really don't think I'm exaggerating for the most part in this video, which is wild. I wish I was exaggerating. I wish that was a lie, but it's not. So another big pet peeve about these apps for me in New York City is that the quality of the car that you're getting. So when you order a ride, you have no idea what car they're going to come pick you up in until the ride is like picked up on your phone and you see then the car. But even just seeing the car brand doesn't really mean anything. At least it doesn't mean anything to me. Sometimes I've taken some rides in New York City with like the most disturbing cars I've ever seen in my life, to the point where like I don't even know how these cars are like legal to like drive on the road type of thing. So ever since like that started happening to me for a while, there was like one period during a summer where that was happening like all the time. I was getting like so skeeved out that like I stopped using the apps for a while and started taking cabs because I was like so disgusted by the cars that I was getting. I was just like, I can't be in these cars anymore. I literally like don't know like what kind of crime scene this is. And look, I'm not trying to be rude because I know that a lot of people are driving for these apps because they're looking for a side hustle or looking to make it in New York City, and I do get that, but it's just one of those things where I just never knew what type of car I was going to get into, and it was like so bad for like a 4 to 6 month period that I just got scarred from the apps for a while. I couldn't use them. I see it for both sides, and for me, I just stopped and I went to cabs for a while because I was just like so done with that. That was kind of like the first time that I ever realized I was like, oh wow, like it's so unreliable what kind of car you're going to get. You really have no idea. And with something compared to like a taxi, you do, it's going to be a taxi. So those are the pros and cons of Uber and Lyft in New York City. If you guys have any others to share, please share them in the comments because like always, I love hearing from you guys. And I want to know which one you prefer, Uber or Lyft.